Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Little Anime Podcast, where we talk about anything anime related, games, movies, or shows. As you saw today with my schedule, I'll be going over the first season of Psycho Pass. I actually remember watching this a while back. It's been a minute, before rewatching it again. But I don't remember what year it was exactly when I first saw it. It just like randomly popped up as like a really popular anime that people enjoyed or people were enjoying. So I'm like, you know what? I'll jump in and watch it. One of the things, it is a very gory anime. I would say someone on the level of like Attack on Titan gore. We know what that type of what's happening. But sure enough, I'm was okay with the gore in Attack on Titan, and the same thing for Psycho Pass. But if you're someone who can't really handle that, I really wouldn't recommend this anime. It is really good. Like the story is good, the characters are good, and it's a really interesting show, especially if you're into the whole like mystery, detective, psychological type of like show. Then this is something you'll definitely be interested in. But yeah, if you can't really get past the gore, I can't really tell you anything because that was something that I was worried about when I first started watching this. But yeah, that's really it. So before we start, I should have looked up. Okay. Usually do like my news section before, but I didn't really have time to do it today. But I did see on Twitter that the new trailer for Rurouni Kenshin Season 2 Kyoto Disturbance is scheduled for October 2024. Actually, speaking of, let me actually post that I am live. So give me one quick second, you guys. Just one quick share. That was weird. Oh, what the? What the? Oh my god. Like, my whole screen just, like, didn't tell me my V2, my rebridger stopped. What the hell is going on? Like, everything just, like, crashed. Yeah, now I'm frozen. What the hell? That's never happened before. The stream is still up, but my VTube Studio and my rebridger, like, stopped. So give me one quick second, you guys. Let me fix this. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Like everything froze, and then it just like everything just crashed. My OBS looked like it was still on, but I couldn't see anything. And then I don't know. It was just like everything just crashed. So I literally had to turn everything off and turn it back on. It was really weird. never done that. But lately I've been getting like updates that don't have enough memory or like storage. Just trying to make sure everything's up and running. Remake a VOD for YouTube. I get canceled by YouTube. But Mia, nice to see you. Yeah, I just had this huge issue. My freaking everything just crashed. So, and I'm trying to look on YouTube and it looks like it's only doing the first 12 minutes after it messed up. So I literally gotta do a whole new video again. Okay, I think it's back up. Yeah, that was really weird. That's never done that to me before. So, but let me just turn on this music so I can hear myself, just so we can have something in the background. But yep. So today, I'll be doing a quick little review, give my opinions on the. Oops. Come on, don't wear it out on me now. On the 2012 anime Psycho Pass. This anime came out around October 12th of 2012, all the way to March 22nd of 2013. This is actually just the first season. There's 3 seasons, and I think there's an OVA, and then there's 2 movies. Yeah, I know there's a game. I haven't played the game, but I do want to, because the game looks interesting as well. I am wondering on what that would look like. Let me put that there. Oh, it's a visual novel. Okay. I mean, I can kind of see that, it being a visual novel. But yeah, the licensing from this was Funimation, the studio who created it the first season. I'm not sure if they did the second and third. I'd have to look up that again. But for this first season, the studio was Project IG. The genre is action, mystery, sci-fi, and suspense. The theme is adult cast, because they're all in their 20s, 30s, some are even older than that. Detectives, and psychological. The first season was 22 episodes. So I thought maybe I'd just go over. There is a bit of a synopsis that I got from, what's it called? my enemy list. I won't say it word for word, but basically this whole show takes a premise in the 22nd century where Japan enforced a system called the Sybil system. It's a object means to determine the threat level of each citizen by examining their mental state for signs of criminal intent, known as their psychopaths or their crime coefficient. That's what they refer to it when criminals, how high their mental state is when they're like committing these crimes or like what their mindset is during the crime. So with that, they get the dominators, which are right here. They get those, and they it's really cool actually how it like scans someone to like read their mental state, and then it gives them a number, and if your number is past a certain threshold, then it deems you a threat. And there are different options. It doesn't, but the most like iconic use for it is like for it to be like really lethal. Basically, it like they I forget. I'm not really sure how it works exactly, but it like they zap you, and it just like it. I don't know if it does something to their bodies or sends some type of electric shock to them that ends up like imploding them and killing them. But there are like non-lethal if your coefficient isn't too high to where the dominators deem it that. So there are ways to like so it's not like an immediate, oh, someone's a threat, it's just an automatic death. Like, no. Sometimes you can, it can paralyze them, and that's kind of what happens in the first episode, which you guys actually can watch. The first episode dub is on YouTube. Everywhere else, you'll have to watch it on, like, Crunchyroll or, other sites. But, I just figured let's go over some of the characters. So we've got Shinya Kogami. He was, well, in the beginning of the show, we meet him as an enforcer. Later on, we do find out that he actually was a detective slash inspector in the beginning, and he had a partner that he was really close with. But there was this case that they ended up getting, and his partner ended up going missing. Later on, he finds out that his partner was like brutally and grisly murdered, and since then he's been trying to figure out the person who did it and bring them to justice, which we do end up finding out is Shogo Makashima. He is the main villain for the first season. He just goes around either manipulating people to commit these heinous crimes of like one very in particular that I think like really showcases him was, I forget which episode it is, but basically it's them dealing with like these girls winding up like dead. Like they found this one girl dead in like what should have been like a fountain that was like camouflage, and you just find her there and she's just disfigured and just all over the place, but she's supposed to be like weirdly shaped and like art. It's really fucked up. But and I know that's kind of what started it, or like started hinting of him, because this ends up getting flashbacks back to Kogami, because this is kind of the same way on how his partner was found disfigured and just like reconfigured all crazy and just like twisted. So he kind of already has an idea like, oh no, this looks similar. One of the reasons why he was such, it was and still is like a very iconic villain, is because in the show normally you're when they scan you with dominators, like I said, if your crime coefficient is high, it will deem you a threat and either paralyze you or just straight up kill you. But the thing with him was that he was asegmatic or something like that, whatever they called it. Basically, he can commit all like the most heinous, most disturbing crimes, but his crime coefficient was like mad low. So he's like out here just doing the most heinous stuff, but his crime coefficient was that of a regular everyday person. So it was really hard to, bring him to justice using the civil system, because he was finding a loophole behind that. And so we do also, one of the most important characters, which you guys seen her a lot, is Akane. Suanomori. We first get introduced to her in the first episode where she is a rookie inspector detective. She's new to this. She picked this job because she's like did this test and her scores were high for everything, but I forget exactly what the exact reason was why she ended up picking going to the working as a detective. I think it was like her score was a bit different than all the other test scores she got. Like hers was, I think no, I think like she scored high in everything, but working at for the bureau, like her score like stand out than everyone. So she thought that that was like a sign that maybe this was something she was meant to do, which we do kind of later figure out later on that she is kind of like not exactly like Makishima, more that she's able to like deal with stress and all this stuff that's going on without her, without it affecting her psychopaths. So she can like go through all this stuff, go through all this death and all these terrible things, and something does end up happening to her. Something happens like to someone really close to her, and it does affect her, but not in the way that it like spikes up her psychopaths to the point that it like labels her a latent criminal like it would the others. Um, One of that was as they were hunting down Makishima, one of her best friends that we do meet in the beginning of the show ends up getting kidnapped and later on gets killed right in front of her by Makishima. That's another thing that even though he was out here doing all these crimes, no one really had a clear, no one alive ever had a clear, like, could give a clear, it like reputation of him because anyone who ever worked with him would either get killed off by the detectives or the enforcers, or he would kill them off to keep his identity a secret. So it did play a big role that he did what he did in front of Akane, but it helped that she was kind of the only person to ever get a clear view of the guy and live to tell it. So there was this one part in the anime where they were gonna like scan her brain so that way they can get like a digital copy of exactly what this guy looks like. But they were worried that doing this, doing it would have to make her relive the events of what happened to her friend, watching her friend get killed right in front of her, and that would put her at risk of spiking up her psychopaths, possibly labeling her as a latent criminal, but it doesn't. It did spike up for a bit, but it slowly started receding and going back to normal for her. So that is like a unique trait of hers that she can like go through this and like she can still stay sane, stay true to herself, and doesn't lose focus. Uh, One of the other enforcers that we meet in the first season is Genzo. He is really like to the rules, to the book. We do find out later that one of the enforcers actually was his dad, who was a inspector too, but he's like really old fashioned. So when the civil system got like introduced, him and a bunch of other detectives didn't like that they like basically what they've done all their lives were being like tossed aside to focus on what a machine was telling them to do. So and then something happened and then his psychopath ended up spiking, lating him a latent criminal, and with that it like brought shame to him and his family and like really tore his family apart. So he tries to be like a sticker of the rules, but with all the stress going on with him and his dad's situation, everything going on with Akame and Kogami, by the end of the first season, his psychopath ends up spiking up so high and stabilizing there that he ends up becoming a latent criminal and ends up working as an enforcer later on in the season or series, I should say. We do meet Kaguya. He is also an enforcer. He's the orange hair guy. At first, him and Akame kind of got off on the wrong foot because he felt like this was kind of the only job he had as an option because the civil system labeled him as a latent criminal from when he was really young. So he was like put in the system, and basically the the what the enforcers are able to do to kind of have some semblance of a life is to work as enforcers, so that way they're not just sit up locked up in like a cell. So that is something, I mean, all the time, but they can like come out, do this, and but he was labeled as a criminal, a latent criminal, as a kid, or like really young. So when he heard how Akame was kind of, could have picked any job, but chose to pick this, and only in for a reason that kind of didn't really sit with him. They did get off with the wrong foot, but later on they did kind of go over that and did become, more friendly. But there is a tragedy that does end up happening with him halfway. No, I'm thinking like maybe towards the end of the anime. He ends up learning the truth about the civil system and ends up quote unquote disappearing. But I think most people who end up who watch the anime knows what happens, does know what happened to him because of the truth he ended up learning. Um, there's also another enforcer, which is Masayoka. That's the other enforcer's dad. We end up finding out later on. Him and Akame kind of get a well pretty much in the beginning. 'Cause he's a lot older, so he does know that she's like really young, still new to this, and he tries to like be there for her, be that like guiding light for her, but he does end up dying in the end of the first season. Um, I forgot what exact. I'm trying to remember. I just watched it, but I'm blanking. But like, yeah, he ends up dying in the end. Like saving, like either with like protecting Akame or protecting his team. Taking like a explosive to the face or something, and like his injuries were like too much for him to recover from. There is another enforcer, um, Hunazuka. That's the girl in all black with the ponytail. She's also an enforcer. I forget exactly what her story was. I think hers was kind of the same. Like, ended up was labeled a latent criminal really early on, and to get some semblance of a life, chose to be an enforcer. We do have the other lady, the one in the blonde. Her name is Komi Nom. I can't say these names. Basically, she's their analyst. She goes through looking up any information that they can. I think she's also labeled as a latent criminal, but works as an analyst for them. So she's able to like go through files, go through like informations, and get what they need so that other people can do their jobs. And that's pretty. Oh no, actually, there's one more very important person in this first season, and that is Shoji Saija. He turns out was a mentor of Kogami, and taught criminal psychology in the bureau, but like fled because he didn't like being controlled by the civil system. So it really is interesting seeing this anime and seeing how um, how someone working with the law and all that can, one day you think, oh, everything's fine, you gotta follow the rules and the laws and everything that's set, but then when you really get into it and you see the nitty gritty, you see the darkness and the death and the gruesomeness, and seeing the true face of someone capable of all that evil and whatnot, it really just throws you off. And especially for we're following it under the guidance of Akame, so seeing how she deals with all this, and seeing how she goes through this and how she grows, because towards the end, there is a bit of a conflict between her and Kogami. Kogami, of course, is driven by revenge, as he wants Makishima dead for all the crimes he committed, but most definitely for the crime of killing his friend slash former partner. Excuse me. So he wants revenge for him for that, even if it means going out of the law to do it. But Akame is like, no, we need to find some way to bring him to justice using the rules. If we don't, that makes us no better than him. They do have a falling out of this where he decides to abandon his job as an enforcer with the bureau, fleeing as a wanted criminal, but in the end does end up getting his revenge with Makashima, getting that huge like fight that they end up doing towards the end, and ends up killing him and ends up fleeing the country. There are some like movies and OVAs that follows his adventures of what happened after he got his revenge and fled Japan, and kind of what happened to like draw him back into Japan. But this does kind of like shape Akame into being a more competent inspector. Since now the inspector she started out with ended up becoming an enforcer due to everything that's happened. They did end up losing three other members. One was killed for learning the truth. The other one fled as a wanted criminal, and the other one died in the line of duty. So towards the end of the season, we kind of see it like come back in full circle, where now she's the senior inspector with all the experience. A new girl comes joining in as a novice, and now there are like three other enforcers to make up for the three other spots that were missing on the team. And that's pretty much where the second season kind of picks up. I only wanted to talk about the first season, but second season, a lot of people have mixed feelings about the second and third season. The second season does still follow like the adventures of Akame, and with the new people that she does end up becoming the head of Division 1, and trying to follow along. And there are like some real tragedies that end up happening. There's this really nice YouTube um there's a video on YouTube that kind of nicely wraps, like does a quick like summarizing of what happens in the first season, second season, and then like the OVAs that follow Kogami after he fled, and then it kind of brings it back to the movie that they did a while back, and them going into the third season. So I mean, I think I probably could play it. I don't think it'd be any problems, but we just see like how she started out, how this job really shaped her into becoming a more competent inspector and detective. Her like mixed feelings for everything, losing all the friends she started out with, getting new people, training them, working with them, trying to build that, same bond she had with the other teams. Excuse me. And now instead of her being the novice, now she has to teach the new recruit that came in. And um her mixed feelings with her and Kogami, and how they kind of were really starting out, didn't get off on the right foot, but we can see they really do like bond, and they do deeply care about each other, but their paths just ended up going different ways, even though in the end they both just want like true justice to prevail, not to have any regrets for their actions, and just trying to be true to themselves, to not lose themselves in this chaos that they're in. You know what? I think I could play it. I don't think this should be a problem. I'll just play it up to it talking about the first season. I won't. I'll leave it off there. I'll stop it there. So I just think it was a really nice. I saw it, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of a nice video to kind of give a quick summary of what happened in like the first two seasons, plus the OVA that follows Kogami. Let's see, Psycho Pass. Let's do English, but that should find it. That's the trailer. I would say watching it, Makashima is definitely one of those villains that just really intrigues you because of how he works, how he thinks, how he's like maneuvering the system to work to his advantage. I said just found it. You can watch the first two episodes here on YouTube. That's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? But But yeah, like they end up losing a lot of people in the beginning. Like literally, like half the team ends up getting killed off by the end. So when she starts, when it's like ending and it like revamps back up to the starting up the second season, she's not the head inspector. There's a new recruit, and then there's like three other people to take the place of Kogami leaving and the two other dying. Why can't I find it? Hmm. But no, I would say like there were so many just iconic scenes in the first season. The first one I think that really hit people was when her friend got kidnapped and he killed her right in front of her. I know that blew my mind. I was like, what? What the? I just noticed my freaking avatar is. I don't know why she just jumped up and now she's frozen. Hello. I think I'm gonna have to go through and like delete all this, like any stuff I'm not using. I think that's what's holding up my. I think that's what's freezing up my plastic. Oh, see, I haven't seen that. Does it really? Is that a good anime? I've seen it a few times, but I've never sat down and watched it myself. What the? I don't know why my V bridger keeps like disappearing or shutting down. I'm really gonna have to go through and yeah, it's like not working. I just try to turn it back on and it's not doing anything. I mean, I don't think I have that much stuff up. Is it? It's very similar in some way to Psychopaths. Oh, is it really? If that's the case, I definitely will watch it. Okay. It looks like it's about to start and then it stops, so I'm gonna have to. One sec. I'm just trying to see where I can. Let's see if that works. Without the gore and killing, it's a lot more tame than the way you describe Psychopaths. Okay. I mean, no, I am like 100% about the gore. Like, Psychopaths is very gory. So if you're not someone who can handle gore, I wouldn't recommend watching it. If you can't handle that type, cause that's kind of what threw me off in the beginning. But I was like, okay, I'm like, this is gory, but I can kind of handle this. Okay. I think the best thing I can do is just keep it talking. Because anything else I try to do, it's like glitching. So let's do this one more time. And I'll just leave it as it is until I can sort out this storage thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to just leave it like that. Because this thing's acting up. But if you're saying it's not as gory as Psychopaths, I'll definitely look into it. But no, I really like horror and suspense stuff, so I'm gonna give it a watch. No, if you are someone who are totally fine with that, like like I said, if you are okay or if you can handle the gore and like Attack on Titan, you'll totally be fine with this. It's about that type of level of gore. Or yeah, basically if you're into like if you're a horror fan or suspense fan, you'll love Psychopass. Cause wow, some of the stuff I've seen is just crazy. But actually, let me remove that. I was able to find it. This is the one I'm talking about right here. Psychopass official series recap. It does go through the first two seasons, then the OVA, and then it kind of goes into what's supposed to be happening in the movie. This around the time this came out, and then like kind of going into the third season. So let's put that there. Lock it there. Click on that. Pause. Make full screen. See, let me turn that off. Put that there. Yeah. All right. So this is kind of what I saw on YouTube. Kind of give like a quick little synopsis of what happens in the first two seasons. I'll stop it after what like where it ended off in the first season, so that way I don't spoil the second season for anyone who wants to watch it. But no, like I said, if you are a horror fan, suspense fan, if you're okay with the type of gore that's in like Attack on Titan, you'll love Psychopass. So let's okay, volume's up. Let's.
We met against a backdrop of chaos. Neither of us could predict the turmoil ahead. In the 22nd century, technological advancements make it possible to accurately measure and quantify a person's personality traits, as well as their fluctuating mental state. Psychological tendencies are calculated,
Oh,
registered,
actually, one of the things I didn't know, I didn't mention, what these little. I've never seen Attack on Titan, but I'm assuming it's like Corpse Party, kind of. Yeah, that I know that's a really gory like anime slash game. I would say yeah, it's about that. Another thing, these cool little like did watches that give up like these like projective screens and how they can like tap on it. These are cool. Like these little watches that they use to like talk to people, look up information are like really cool.
policed. As such, the state is able to pass judgment on a soul using numerical values. People commonly refer to these numbers as one's psychopaths.
Some figures are more important than others. A psychopath that gauges an individual's violent nature and moral leanings is called a crime coefficient. The higher a person's crime coefficient climbs, the more likely they are to break the law in some way. If your crime coefficient exceeds the acceptable range, you'll be arrested and isolated, branded a latent criminal.
The civil system is in charge of detecting such potential lawbreakers and protecting the mental health of society. It's overseen by the Ministry of Welfare. When a person's crime coefficient is reaching dangerous levels, civil takes action. That usually means sending in the Public Safety Bureau's Criminal Investigation Department to handle the threat. It can be difficult for those.
Yeah, see, like they shoot them and I don't know what it does exactly. Like I don't know if it shoots like some type of electric wave that does that to the body, or I'm not 100% sure. It just literally they shoot them and they just like implode from the inside out. It's really like wow. But
Low crime coefficients to speculate what someone on the other end of the spectrum might be thinking or feeling. But other latent criminals understand the psychology of those who would disrupt our society. Their assistance is vital, as time and time again they've proven to be efficient resources in protecting the status quo. Latent criminals hired by the Public Safety Bureau are allowed to return to something like a normal life. These agents are called enforcers. I was assigned to Division 1 of the Criminal Investigation Department as an inspector. Part of my job was to oversee our enforcers.
I eventually found myself working as an enforcer under the watchful eye of Akane Tsunemori.
Division 1 consisted of Mr. Kogami, myself, and fellow inspector Mr. Kinusa. Our other enforcers were Masayoka, Kunizuka, and Kaguri. Kuranamori served as our analyst. Together, we were able to successfully investigate and resolve a number of cases.
Yeah, they did like two or three cases before they got into the whole Makashima thing. I'm trying to remember. The first one was like some internet thing where someone was like posing as like an idol, but was like somehow brainwashing or forcing people to commit like these horrible acts, or it was crazy. Like the crimes that these people end up doing in the show is it's really crazy. It's kind of like the absurd way that people try to kill in like Detective Conan. If anyone's seen Detective Conan, like the way they like commit murders in Detective Conan is just like crazy, and it reminds me of like how the people in here try to commit these crimes. It's just like what in the world? Like it's kind of in their name. You gotta be a psychopath to really think of how to do something like that to like anyone, to not just another, like to any human being or a number of human beings. It's really crazy. And then the one that really brought them in was the one with the like high school girls were being like kidnapped and killed, and then were being like displayed like they were like a vase or ornament holding it. It's crazy. Like the first time they showed it, I was like, "What in the world?"
Though I executed my duties as best I
That's
could,
him.
there was another goal in the forefront of my mind. It involved the mastermind behind the unsolved case that got my partner killed, Shogo Makashima.
Shogo Makashima was
I know a lot of people. This was back in the day, so I know people still think this, but people really thought that he was kind of like how Light Yagami was. How was he was just like this insanely like super genius guy, but was just out here committing the most heinous, most just like this horrible acts of just violence and just killings, and how he was also like manipulating people to commit crimes. So most of the time he wasn't really like he would commit a few crimes himself, but the way he was, and then like his charisma and the way he like drew people to him, and how he could like then manipulate them to committing these horrible acts. But then he turned around and be like, "No, you're doing a good thing. You're freeing yourself. You're being true to yourself." Like this dude, like, he really reminds me of like the Light Yagami from Death Note, on just how evilly like charismatic, and just like just like his IQ was just over the top. As it was just like there was no reason for you to be this smart, just this type of person, and just be this freaking evil.
directly involved in multiple heinous
But that's
crimes.
kind of what made him such a iconic villain in this anime.
In the process of pursuing him, a close friend of mine was killed right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, no, this scene was wild to me. Like kidnapped a friend. Then like the other inspector, like Kagami found her first, tried keeping her safe. Then he did like all this stuff to separate them. And then the other showed up. Akame came, and then was like taunting her to like, oh, use that dominator, use the civil system to judge me, knowing damn well that it wasn't gonna read him, like it would other criminals. So when she does, like, scan him and whatnot, it's saying that, oh, he's not a threat. It's the Dominator is locked. But she, of course, she's like, hello, this dude has like a knife to my friend. He's cutting her up in front of me. And then that final scene where he just, oh my god, I remember, it gets me every time I rewatch it. It's just crazy on how he just did that, and she was just so shocked because she couldn't believe it. And then when she came to the others, and they were like, "What happened? What happened?" And she was like, "It wouldn't work. Like the Dominator wouldn't read him, or it wouldn't, act upon him, and it wouldn't, do what it normally did with any other criminal. It kept saying he was fine, but he like just it's crazy. It's wild.
As a result, Kaguri learned the truth about the civil system
Yeah, went missing. Went missing. My left foot. He learned the truth before anyone else should have, or basically, maybe because he was an enforcer, they were like, yeah, no, you can't know this. Because what if you go and you announce this to like other enforcers or other, whatnots? So, nah, they got rid of that man. And that was like a really tragic death in the anime. Because it was so like off screen because they didn't know where he went, what happened, and then they covered it up that he just disappeared. They didn't know what happened. He just up and he just disappeared. And even now, I mean, I'm sure maybe in the anime they brought it up maybe once or twice in like later seasons, but they just assumed he just disappeared. Something happened and he went into hiding or he just disappeared, and it's crazy.
Makishima was criminally asymptomatic. His
Asymptomatic,
crime
that's what it was.
coefficient didn't increase despite his actions.
Yep.
Due to this unique trait, the Sybil system was unable to sentence him to death,
Mm-hmm.
allowing him the chance to escape from custody.
Oh, that's right. They did like capture him at one point, and because of him being asymptomatic or whatever he just said, no matter what they did, the civil system wouldn't read him the way he should have been read. So he was able, to commit these heinous acts and break out of prison and whatnot. And there was nothing they could do because if they were relying on the civil system and dominators are saying, no, this dude's fine. This dude's he's normal. No, he is not. This man has committed so many heinous acts and just all this death and destruction. And you're telling me this dude just because his mental state isn't like any other criminal. It's like, oh no, he's fine. So that's kind of what plays into it. It's like, what if you get someone like this who is out here just committing these heinous and just horrible crimes, but in their mind, they think this is normal. This is what is normal to them. This is what keeps them at peace. This is what keeps them, sane, as them being insane. Like, how can you deal with something like that if you're relying on something that kind of goes or doesn't work with people with that type of mindset. And I think also at one point they wanted to capture him alive because because he was able to like beat the system in this way. They wanted to like I guess find a way to kill him and then get his brain so that they could add it to the civil system so that they could find a way to find a loophole around people like him so this wouldn't happen again. It was crazy.
We continued our pursuit of Makishima. I had the opportunity to introduce Inspector Tsunemori to my mentor, a man I know as Professor Saiga.
Joji Saiga had previously taught criminal psychology at the Public Safety Bureau. Mr. Kogami was his former student. Not everyone agreed that Makishima should be arrested.
I was drinking some water and I forgot I paused. But yeah, I think also at one point he like broadcast like what they were doing to him or trying to do to him. It's like, oh, they're trying to arrest me. They're trying to label me as a criminal. But when they scan me, my crime coefficient is that of a normal person. So why are they saying I'm a criminal when the system is saying I'm not? And then it was just this huge like debate and uproar of what was going on, and some people were like, no, if it's a civil system saying he's fine, he's fine. And it was crazy.
I wanted to kill him, but Inspector Tsunemori believed he needed to be judged by the law.
Yeah, this is where their drift happened. Which at this point we could see that they really do at this point care about each other. You know, ooh, excuse me. He's like looked out for her. He's like taught her everything he knows. And I think maybe this is me. This might just be me, but I think at this point they've like developed feelings for each other. But this whole thing with Makishima has just like thrown it on the wayside because Kogami is just so determined to get revenge for, the gruesome death of what happened to his former partner, which ended up driving him insane, driving him to having his crime coefficient going up super high, stabilizing there, uh, late stating him as a latent criminal, making him an enforcer, and kind of ruining his life. And at this point Akame is like, no, like if we do that, that makes us no better than him, trying to do things outside the law. We need to work with the law to bring him the justice. And it was crazy. I say it a lot, but it really is. Like, this whole anime, the first season is just, it's
Okay,
that good.
abandoning my job and my life.
Mr. Kogami left the Public Safety Bureau. To him, revenge was more important than everything else we were working toward.
Despite Akane's protests, I eventually achieved my goal and killed Shogo Makishima.
Let me tell you, this final fight between them was so good. Just them going back and forth, and the other trying to kill the other, and Makishima, trying to kill to get away, and him trying to finally get his revenge. No, that final fight was just awesome.
Mr. Kogami ignored the authority of the civil system.
That's another thing. Actually, sorry, I'm pausing a lot, but another thing with this anime is a lot of the hand-to-hand fighting that they do is really, really good. So if you're someone who's really into that whole hand fight, like coronation fighting that they do, and like maybe other shows besides, maybe using magic or using a sword, like they like need to, like they do fight with like guns and whatnot and other weapons, but when they be fighting hand to hand, it'd be really interesting.
Murdered the man he hated so much. Then, he disappeared.
That was wild. Like, no, that scene was wild when I first saw it. She was just stunned. She couldn't believe it. Because she was trying to do everything in her power to stop him. To, no, we could find a way. We can bring him to justice, using the law. And hearing that just, like, sealed it for her. Like, I couldn't stop him. I couldn't stop him from going outside, from taking the law into his own hand.
Mr. Kogami was a latent criminal on the run. Mr. Masayoka died in the line of duty. And Mr. Kinazo was demoted to enforcer because his crime coefficient was rising at an alarming rate. To replace them, Mika Shimotsky was appointed our new inspector.
Yeah, this is the new girl who ends up joining at the very end of the first season. And I'll stop when it announces the other people, because it did announce the other people.
A handful of enforcers, Sakuya Togane, Teppei Sugo, and Sho Hinakawa, also joined Division 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. Cause that kind of goes into season two. But yeah, at the end, it basically stops with, you know, her losing so many people from the first group, getting a new inspector to kind of replace Ginza, and getting three new enforcers. Um, but yeah, no. Whoops. Let me turn that off. Turn that back on. But yeah, no. The first season was really, really good. I definitely would recommend anyone to watch it if you are really into that type of anime. Um, it's just like the twists and turns, and then the what led to the end and what happened, and just following the story from there. Like I said, a lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings for what happened in the second and third anime. I haven't seen the third season myself. I've seen like maybe one or two episodes, but I've seen the second season. Say I would say the second season's pretty good. And then the like movie OVA that follows Kogami after he fled and he's on the run, and then the movie kind of well, cause I know it's like first season, second season, then the Kogami like OVA movie. Then there's another movie that kind of happens with him like coming back, working for like another team as like a mercenary. But him like reuniting with Kame and Ginza, and then that movie takes place, and then it's supposed to be like season three, because then season three takes place like 2 years after some events, and so many things has happened, and it's really crazy. But that's kind of it for, because I don't want to go too. I mean, I guess I kind of did, but I would say this is one of them animes where you just gotta just watch it for the mystery, the suspense of what's gonna happen, what's going on, how does what this person feel, what does this person like talk about? What are the how did the relationships build, and what kind of led to it all happening how it did towards the end of the first season, and it kind of being like in full circle of her, being the experienced inspector, training a now rookie, and also getting three new enforcers to work with. So, um, oops. I would say that's pretty much it for the podcast. I'm so sorry that there was so much of a glitch going on. Like I said, I'm gonna have to definitely figure out why it was doing that. From what it looks like, it's saying I have too much memory or too much stuff like on my PC that's why it's like slowing down and not doing what it's supposed to. But so I'll go through, see if there's any like files and stuff that I have on here that I need to get rid of. But I was thinking maybe I could just play a quick game, but now I'm kind of scared. I feel like this thing's not gonna work if it's gonna be acting like this. So, you know what? Maybe we'll just end it here. I'll go through, figure out what I'm doing, and if I have time, maybe in like another hour or two, I'll come on and I'll play like a quick game. Maybe I'll play some Sword Art, or maybe I'll play Sims. 'Cause I am waiting for, or maybe Danganronpa. I'll see. I'll see how I feel and if it can like load properly without anything else crashing. So, here we go. But that's pretty much it. I definitely would recommend this anime for anyone who wants to watch it. Like I said, looks like the first like two episodes are up on YouTube. I'm sure everywhere else, all the rest of the episodes and the rest of the seasons, you can watch them on Crunchyroll. But that's pretty much it for me, at least for the podcast version. Like I said, I'm gonna figure out what's going on with this computer, see if this freaking clear up some stuff so it can start working. And maybe in like another hour or two, I'll come back and I'll play a game. But that's pretty much it for the podcast portion of this. I hope everyone has a great day, and I guess I'll see you guys in about an hour or two. Bye.